Ladies and gentlemen, and all genders outside and in between, this campaign is set in a dark and twisted world, and may not be suitable for some people. Some people may find this triggering and of a more sensitive nature. Thank you.
When night falls over the water, it falls fast, obscuring everything within. What lurks below, no one can ever truly be sure, but sometimes it sees fit to make itself known. As the rushing blood and adrenaline from the previous fight pounds in your veins, you move past the wall you destroyed and go to head deeper into the tunnel beneath the Hidden Cove's dock that you found earlier. Up ahead, you see where it diverts into a sharp L to the right, deeper into the cliffs. However, directly to your left, the tunnel wall falls away to allow you a view of the beach directly below the wooden constructed dock, which has a surprising amount of clearance between the planks and the water. You see the blue-green glow of bioluminescence expanding out in all directions, lighting the Hidden Cove's high cliffs like a cathedral in the midst of a midnight mass. And then you see the flick of an iridescent fin below the surface. A moment later, a figure breaches the water. He's tall and lithe. His skin is a similar shimmering light blue-grey to the creatures you just fought. However, whilst their skin and limbs were malformed and didn't fit right, this individual has a lithe strength to him, gills visible on the neck and iridescent scales visible across his bare upper torso and lining his sharp cheekbones framed by jet black hair that lays flat against the head and trails down the back in long tendrils. Where his torso meets his legs, the scales thicken and grow deeper in colour, turning into a long, elegant, shark-like tail that flicks out of the water behind him, shimmering in the glow. He regards each of you curiously, with jet-black eyes, a smile tucking at the edge of his lips as he regards you. He looks surprised. Oh, this is a surprise. Curious.
What's curious?
All of you. Why are you here?
Astrid?
Astrid?
We are simply trying to pass through, but it seems that the pathways are less navigable than we anticipated. To whom do we have the pleasure of addressing?
Names are tricky, aren't they? but I know how you individuals enjoy them. I will decide on what you may call me, maybe when we know each other a tad better. Until then, you mentioned you're simply passing through.
Yes, we were hoping to, yes.
Curious. No one really tends to pass through here without purpose. What is yours?
The preservation of our lives, if you must know.
My. More flies caught in the trap, then. What of the rest of you? Do you have voices of your own, or does this one speak for all of you?
Most definitely not. Kind mer person.
Yep.
But what she said.
Absolutely what she said, though. Yeah, absolutely.
Understood. I have no desire to see any accidental blood spilt on this island, but unfortunately, there is some I must claim. I imagine all of you would like to leave this place at some point. Unless you wish to stay, I shan't stop you.
It would be preferable.
There's a couple comfy
gracious offer.
spots. Yeah, I mean, I'd be okay with that.
I personally hate this place, so I can understand. We may be able to help each other. If you help me, then I can secure you passage off of this spit of land to wherever you see fit.
What deal do you have in mind?
I have an offering, but it is upon you to decide some of the terms, you see. I require the blood of the one who gave me someone he shouldn't have. I told him I require offerings to keep up our little bargain. I told him exactly what he needed to give me, and he did not deliver. And for that, an innocent person is now dead. She should not have died here. So, the only fitting recompense now is his life. I need you to go and find him for me.
And once we find this person, then what?
I will take him in place of... Perhaps not in place of, but certainly as recompense for the harm he has caused. And then I will destroy this place. I would rather no more innocents die. Especially not you, little flies. All alone. So, should you wish to escape that fate, we can help each other out.
We would be delighted by your very gracious and generous offer. How might we recognize the one whom you seek?
I think you will know him when you see him, but you can identify him as the lord of this land. The one who previously owned this little charade of control. The puppeteer. You'll know him when you see him, is what I'm trying to say. And I know where you can find him, but I myself cannot go there.
Well, all right. I'd say deal.
Good.
This
Good.
is agreeable to me as well. Johan, Maya?
Perhaps our path may cross, this being. Perhaps.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I don't know about this deal.
What
So
is
we're
it?
just gonna give this person someone to kill so we can get out of here? I don't know.
Not just anyone, a murderer. I
Hmm.
find that not an unpleasant thought.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but like, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of just playing God. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if I like it at all. And then not to mention the fact that how do we even know after we let this person do whatever they're going to do with their little dinner, picking their teeth clean with whatever kind of ribcage bone they choose, that it's just going to work out for us anyway. We're just like, oh, you're just some crazy person. I don't know. We've been through a lot of shit in here. That's all I'm saying. So I'm at the point now where maybe we should think about it for a second and be like, oh, how about we just not take the first deal? Some creepy person with crazy big snake eyes is just like, hey, want to do this? And we're like, oh yeah, I'm down. You know, so I don't know, guys.
If I may extend some information that might help your quandary. When I found out that his misuse of the deal had resulted in a young person's death, I made it so that her body did not rot. I gifted her a ring. And by way of that ring, she would remain dead, but preserved until somebody could find her and put together what happened to her. By your faces, I'm guessing you found my little offering.
Maybe?
You could say that. Yep.
Ah, did you see the aftermath of removing it?
Yep, I lost paper, scissors, rock for that one.
Did you? What is that ritual?
It was basically, we took a gamble on who pulled the ring off, and I lost the gamble.
It's an ancient and powerful ritual.
Very powerful.
Just dangerous
Man,
as well.
it's very
But
dangerous
we
even.
took the risk.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that I can respect. So, as you can see, perhaps it is not a means by which you can trust me, but it is perhaps credence to my not wanting to see anyone else get hurt unnecessarily. All I want is him.
And if we don't, then what?
Well, of course, that is your prerogative, but if no boon is offered, then there is no boon to accept. And I cannot make a deal with you to bring you away from this place. And you will die here.
Johan, this is the man who has caused suffering to so many, who sacrificed Alice.
I don't know.
Deserves
It's like
no
a two
better
wrongs
fate.
does not make a right, you know? Like, just because we're going to keep spilling basically more blood, an eye for an eye makes the world blind, what happened to that? We're just going to just keep doing that? So, I don't know. I said we meet the guy and at least hear him out. I mean, it's not going to be a great guy, but like, let's at least meet him first.
An eye for an eye. Such words.
Yeah, yep, that was the, you know what I mean. You know, your eye's
Johan.
great, by the way.
Johan, look at it this way. We're facilitating a conversation. If we bring this person to this other person, perhaps they have a chance to, talk it out. Maybe that's what's going to happen. Maybe this murder person isn't going to use their rib bone as a toothpick. Can't just make assumptions on that account. So I say deal.
Oh, when you put it that way, that doesn't sound that bad. I thought it was going to be so much worse. You know what? This probably could work out in the end. So let's give it a shot.
All right. And you, dancing one.
I say I say we shall bring him to you.
I knew I could count on you.
I am far too aware of the give and take of these lands.
I'll say. Your blood is familiar. I would not like to see it spilled. It is so rare these days, is it not? Now, on to your task, shall we say. You should find him further into the caverns. To the left of this place. Further into the cliff face. I don't know what they do there. But it was not just him. For a long time, his blood has taken stake to this land and tainted it, transformed it. You will find him. You will most likely also find evidence of whatever they did to this place. Although I cannot guarantee that. At this point, I'm going to need all of you to make me a logic and vigilance test, please.
Is this by chance a reading of this person?
No, unfortunately
Okay.
not.
So logic and vigilance.
Unfortunately, the moons do not sway towards me tonight.
One success.
I have one success as well.
No successes.
Dagmar and Astrid. As the man talks, below him you notice something more. Something huge and moving. Easy to dismiss at first as the ocean currents if you're not paying attention, but you are. Below the water, below this individual's long, shark-like tail, and resting on the ocean floor, are huge tentacles that are coiled around the supporting pillars of each of the piers, big as tree trunks at their smallest, and then getting much, much bigger until they disappear out of the protected cove and into the depths. No matter how much you try to squint into the beyond, the entity they belong to is impossible to make out.
Shall we be on our way then?
Hold on 1 second. My dear person, it sounds like we're possibly are being sent off to our debt. I feel like it's only fair if, next to the opportunity of perhaps getting our dead bodies out of here, you would offer us a little bit more, something like information, if you have it, of course.
Of course. A show of good faith, shall we say. And would you like to collect on that part of the bargain now or later?
I feel like the safest bet is now.
Then by all means, ask away.
Maya, do you still have that bracelet?
Let me check my ruffles. As I pull through my petticoat, This, Dagmar?
Yeah, exactly. Have you maybe any knowledge about what this is? Or have you seen it before?
I have. He sort of looks at it a little closer. He doesn't get any further nearer to you. It seems like he's being quite careful to not move closer in case he should spook you. But he does sort of lean in a little closer and squint at it. Interesting. I have not seen that specific one. However, there were many like it. 4 like it, in fact. They would, from what I understand, before they brought those who would give themselves to me, to my cove, they would all be wearing these. But before they got into the water, they took them off. Each one of them.
That's it? That's all you got?
What else would you like to know about them?
Do they possess any magical quality on their own?
Not that I know of, no. Dagmar, please make me an empathy and observation roll, and this time you can add your additional dice for reading people.
All right. Nothing, unfortunately.
He's very hard to get a read on.
All right. Well, I'd remind everyone that there's a couple more like these in a place that we've been before. I wonder, should we collect them?
I suppose it does not hurt our journey to go back.
Yeah, what's the harm?
Well, on that note, I suppose I will say good luck. And I will see you when I see you. And at that point, he drifts back in the water, turns around to sort of look out of the cove for a second, sort of grins, and then lithely dives back under the water, and you see the flick of the iridescent fin just flick up out of the water and disappear down with him.
What a curious being.
All right, that was creepy. Oh, jeez. I'm all right.
Perhaps let us hurry then. For those
The boathouse is right up there, right?
It is indeed.
All right, let's race there.
Okay. Dagmar, are you taking anyone with you to go back to the boathouse, or are you going alone?
Whoever wants to follow.
Understood?
I'm quite happy to follow you. Never know what might spur upon our path there.
All right. You're quite able to run back past the demolished wall that lays in tatters on the floor. There are the two tankards with spoiled alcohol into the side with the tapped keg, and you're able to sprint past that, past the iridescent pool where you saw those two sort of malformed mer creatures before, and up the ladder back into the boathouse. Easily you're able to grab all of these bracelets with you. Are you also taking the tags or just the bracelets?
I'll take the tags.
You take the
And
tags?
while I'm there, I also quickly go over the books, and I grab the one with that's about Dutch noble lines.
Understood.
And
Quite
tuck it
easy.
away. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's it.
Maya, is there anything else you would like to do whilst briefly in the boathouse?
Are there any more jars that sit upon the desk that I have yet to grab?
As I remember, you took them all with you.
That's what I thought.
But if you would like a reminder, I can certainly tell you what you recovered.
I'm sure I am aware. I just wanted to make sure that my fingers were not slippery.
You were quite thorough.
Marvelous.
Indeed. Now, if there is nothing else you would like to do in the boathouse, you are quite easily able to rejoin Johan and Astrid as they linger by the opening into the cove here, just before where it descends deeper into the darkness and away from you.
Wow, that was really short. I really feel like we took a roundabout way of getting here. Dang.
Does
Oh, well.
appear that the clock may have ticked and talked a bit too long prior.
All right, now, I have to confess something. Johan, I'm not entirely sure. And Dagmar looks around and lowers her voice. I'm not sure we should give this person either. But that's something we can figure out then and there. You know, we can I always say, look at every story from all the sides, from all the perspectives, and you might find something you didn't expect to see, you know? And also, if somebody offers you a deal, you take it.
Okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I also want to hear what this guy has to say, so we're on the same team here, but I want to ride this wave as bad as you do. And obviously, yes, in some situations, you do take the deal. You got a gift for Gab. I trust you. So let's just see where this takes us.
All right.
Okay. Approaching the cave closer, past the bit where it sort of splits off into the cove, you see a dark tunnel that takes an immediate right angle turn. It leads you deeper under the island. Looking at the size of the cliffs that you just saw, you get the idea that this is even deeper underground than the tunnel that leads to the lighthouse, even directly underneath it. Dagmar, you're reminded of that dream you had in the Abbey, of wandering endless hallways with no end. Even more so as you get deeper in. Unlike the other tunnels, these are bare rock, narrowing into a well-carved passageway, with walls covered in lichen and damp with seawater. And there's another sound as well. Of thundering water ahead as you turn a corner to see another pool. A waterfall crashes down from somewhere high above, and the rounded cavern in front of you glimmers with algal blooms. The waterfall doesn't quite touch the back wall. In the middle of the pool is a small island of rock.
How interesting.
Sure is wet.
Is there anything clearly in this pool of water?
As you approach the sort of edge of the pool, you can see that whilst the water here seems shallow and clear, the small craggy rock island is about 2 feet square of dark material. There's lichen clinging to the sides, and something above it throws dim light to form a spot of illumination on the top of the rock from the ceiling above. At the top of the rock, there seems to be some sort of divot, almost like there's a bowl inlay, but you can't see what's in it from the side of the pool.
Well, I am already wet. Let me cross and see what is there.
It's quite shallow.
Johan, keep an eye on me, please.
Gotcha. Don't want you drowning twice.
Once is more than enough.
Understood. You begin to wade into the pool. Gets to about knee height on you. And as you're moving forward, you can feel the give of the silt floor as your foot kind of half sinks and you have to quickly pull it back out. But eventually you reach the rocky crag in the middle. Nestled into the hollow in the top of the rock is a book. It's leather-bound and thick, secured shut by a thin steel chain and a padlock that loops through holes that have been punched in the binding and covered in select places. They don't pierce the pages, but they ensure the chain just can't be jimmied off.
Is there any writing on the cover?
No. Completely bare.
Is it locked?
It is.
What is it, Astrid?
Astrid, as you pick it up, please make me a logic or an empathy roll.
No success.
No successes. As you pick this tome up, you feel a head rush take you. Almost like you've lost your footing and have tumbled off of a high cliff somewhere. There's weightlessness and a stomach-churning rush. And then suddenly, there is resistance. And you try and move your limbs, but there's more of it. There's more resistance, and it's cold. It's so cold, and it's dark, and you try to open your eyes and take a breath in, only to feel sharp, cold water fill your lungs and begin to choke you. You open your eyes and glance up, desperate to find a point of light, to find a break in the water, to see anything, but it's just dark and deep. And you're sinking. It's as you're almost on the verge of giving up, you feel your limbs begin to numb and give way. That suddenly, in that same rush, your stomach churning and flipping over itself, you are spat once again out of the vision and into the clearing. And you have the book in your hands.
Astrid? Astrid?
You alright?
Yeah, yes. I just... Oh, just more tired than I expected. Give me a moment, I will be right there.
Okay.
For the rest of you, as you're looking around, please make me a logic and vigilance roll.
One success.
No successes.
No successes.
Dagmar, Maya and Johan, you're too busy watching Astrid cross this pool, and you're worried about her. You see her stop stock still as she picks up this book, and she doesn't move for a good 5 seconds, and it's the unnerving stiffness and lack of movement in her limbs that catches you off guard, almost like she's suddenly become a statue before she jots out of it. Dagmar, you're not quite as fazed by this, and you've been looking around
She'll
the
be
place.
fine.
Of course, she's been through worse at this point. And it's as you're sort of scanning this cavern that you note that the waterfall, not only does it not touch the back wall, there is a clearance space behind it that looks big enough for a person to fit through.
Hey. Wait a minute. Hey, Astrid, hurry up.
Yes, of course. Just watching my footing, you know, us old ladies.
You are able to climb out of the pool, Astrid.
I discovered this book, but it appears to be locked, and Dagmar, I recall you can open anything, if you would.
Of course. I would
Okay.
like to try and open it.
Understood. Your precision and your stealth, please, Dagmar.
Yep. Two successes.
Easy enough. The chain is pulled away with a rattle, and you're able to extricate it from the pierced holes and open the book. The leather of the cover is supple and smells of musky hide, and its pages are spotted with age. But other than where the pages are visible in the binding, the actual meat of the pages seems remarkably well preserved. Pressed within the pages, you find many different types of flower, painted in beautiful watercolors. Below each flower is written a word.
In what language?
It's in Swedish.
All right. Are they perhaps the flowers from the flowery heart that I have?
No, they're not.
It's flowers. Maya, are you good with flowers? Like, for, like, I don't know, potions and stuff? Like, anybody here good at flowers?
I tickle upon the stems every so often. May I take a look?
I hand it to Maya.
All of you may make a logic and learning roll.
1 success.
1 success as well.
No successes.
Also, none.
Dagmar and Maya, as you're ruminating over this, the both of you poring over the page of this book, something comes to you. Languages are tricky. Sometimes languages are not done by the means of word. Sometimes languages are completely other. And sometimes they're completely culturally specific. You're also aware that flowers can be one such language. Specifically, the noble flower language of Salam. This used to be, well, it is, a more oriental language, but it was introduced to Europe by Charles II. After years of living in exile in Turkey, he brought it to Sweden with him, and that became highly popular throughout the noble cultures of the Western world. Dagmar, you're pretty sure you have seen people using this language to converse in courtly settings without being noticed by their peers.
Wait a second, it's not necessarily about the flowers, it's code.
Have you encountered this code before? Can you decipher it?
Can I?
You think so? Of course, with a ciphered document in your hands, you're fairly confident. But you also don't have a cipher yet.
If we'd have a cipher, probably, but without it, it's just pretty, I guess.
Well, perhaps we will find something yet along our journey.
Maybe the secret door behind the waterfall?
I'm sorry, what?
What?
There's a secret door behind the waterfall.
So there is.
Oh, how about that?
Should we go?
Perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down.
All right. Here, Maya, you keep this with you.
Thank you. And Maya ruffles it into her many layers of petticoatness.
It disappears immediately. Dagmar, as you lead the charge behind the waterfall, you feel the sharp pinpricks of the chilling water spatter you as you go by, but you are able to hug close to the rock enough to not get completely drenched. And stepping out, you step into an open space. Bathed in a pale, sallow glow of far-off light as it streams in through a hole in the ceiling, it filters down to directly hit an odd construction in the middle of the room. A stone block rises up from the center, surrounded by slightly raised round platforms that jut from the stone by a few inches. The stone block has an odd quarter-sphere divot cut out of one side, stained with a dark liquid that colors the floor below it. And carved into the walls are once again the image of the young woman wreathed in vines. This time, however, all of them depict her in the pose of taking a bite out of the heart. It smells like dust in here, and there's a layer of rock and debris on the floor that seems to be somewhat disturbed going through the middle of the room, to where another passage continues further into the tunnels. The disturbances seem to head in that direction. Dagmar, as you enter the room, you feel something shift among your possessions. Something stutters, a small pulse, and then falls into a gentle, rhythmic beat. Ba-doom.
I check my pouch to see what it is.
So you dig around for the source of it. Eventually your hand closes around the briar heart. You pull it out, only to find it beating steadily in your palm, a red glow emanating from the center that causes it to feel warm. As the beat reaches a comfortable tempo, the room itself around you seems to warm up slightly, as though a fire has roared to life, and you hear a light laugh echo throughout the room. Dagmar, the source of the laughter sounded like it came from right beside your elbow.
I assume there's nothing there.
Nope.
Well, this is curious. Did anybody else hear that?
A curious noise, you say?
Laughter, more specifically.
I'm afraid I must have been outside the room.
Hmm.
Did
Oh,
you
I
hear where
think,
it came from?
like, right next to me, but there's nothing there. Oh,
No.
this is some bullshit. Ugh. All right, I think we are in a creepy ritual room again, and I go to check out the pedestal, the weird thing that came up.
Sure. Roll me a logic and investigation test.
All right. Even though I was very vigilant today, I think my luck has run out. No success.
No successes. You're not sure what it is, but there's something about that spilled liquid along the side of it that's too unnerving to look past. And as you find yourself trying to go and look at examining the rest of the rock, your eyes are just inextricably pulled back to that stain.
Well, the previous room had these hidden panels and devices. Perhaps there is something here?
Possibly.
A room does tend to have many answers.
You may roll
Dagmar,
me.
what are you looking at, by the way? Real quick, what is Dagmar? Do you know what you're looking at?
My first guess would be blood, but Dagmar kneels and like wipes it up with her finger and like tries to discern what it is.
It is dried on there. It's kind of more like paint at this point. You kind of have to chip it off with a nail if you want to get to anything out of it. But you can indeed make me a, let's say, empathy and observation tests. Let's go with that.
All right. One success.
One success. That's blood. It's very, very old blood. And as you look up at the stone, you get a horrible, horrible feeling that specific divot is used somehow to make the murder that happened here far easier to carry out.
All right. It's definitely blood. I unfortunately recognize that. Also, I'm pretty sure that this is some kind of murder pedestal. So maybe take a step back, everyone. And he kind of backs away. Did anybody else see something?
Astrid, would you like to make me a logic and vigilance roll to see if you can suss anything else out?
2 successes.
2 successes. As you look around the room, keeping away from that pedestal in the center as Dagmar instructed, you note how, unlike the room before, the carvings here have no depressions or indents. Nothing hidden, it seems. This place seems completely utilitarian for one purpose and one purpose only. And every time you think of what that purpose could be, your eyes are drawn black to the chopping block in the middle of the room. And that's when it clicks. That's an executioner's block. And it's as you clock this that you note the drag mark on the floor. The disturbance that heads from where the hidden door is by the waterfall and heads through the room to the passage where it leads further into the darkness. There is a drag mark heading directly in that direction.
I believe perhaps we should look more closely that way.
Okay.
Old. I have an idea. And as she's done many times before, she picks a flower off the heart that is now, assuming, still pulsing.
It is indeed.
Hello, my old friend.
Glowing Dagmar?
Perhaps
And she already chews it and swallows it.
Okay, make me a logic or an empathy roll, please.
Logic or empathy? Because
Logic or empathy.
Okay, empathy. No successes.
No successes. This time, when you put the flower in your mouth, you feel it burn. It's an uncomfortable, acidic, searing sensation, and you try to force it around your mouth, force it away from your tongue, anywhere, but anywhere it goes, that fire follows, and it almost forces itself down your throat, making you swallow it. And before you can try and spit it out or vomit it up or do anything about this, that horrible ozone smell rushes into your senses, and you are lurched out of the current room and into somewhere else. It is dark, pitch black even. You can feel your feet on the floor, but you're not sure where you're standing. And as you turn to try and get a better idea of what you are or where you're doing or what even this place is, you look ahead and you see it. A figure. A white dress. With their back to you. Brunette curls falling elegantly around their head. A crown of vines on top of it. And they just stood with their back to you.
Hello? I just want to talk.
As you say this, you hear that same laughter echoing to your right, to your left, right in your ear, 10 meters away, 100 meters away, in your ear again. And as you look up at the figure once more, they're right in front of you. She's tall, willowy, gaunt. Her eyes stare daggers into yours. She smiles to reveal fangs. And as she does so, a gush of blood comes from her mouth and empties down her white dress. She laughs, and you are catapulted out of vision.
Dagmar?
Dagmar, you're going to take the frightened condition for me, please.
Dagmar? Dagmar, you're all right.
No, I'm fine. No.
I place a hand upon Dagmar's shoulder. Dagmar, what did you see?
I saw her, and she points at the girl on the wall. There was a lot of blood, teeth, fangs. Ugh. Not good. Wasn't good. Wasn't not helpful.
Do not know what you expected. Eating from a glowing... What is that?
It's... You want some?
No, thank you. I value my life.
I'm still alive. It wasn't that bad before. Johan, here, you take it. And I dump the heart in your
I don't even know
hands.
what this is. What do you, what?
It's a flower heart and it's beating. Just take care of it.
It's very warm, Johan, in your palm. And as you hold it, it's just slow, rhythmic. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum.
I don't think I want this. I'm not going to lie to you. This is kind of weird. Does anybody else want it?
Perhaps I shall hold on to it.
All right. Either that or, Maya's many ruffles. I just, anybody but me. Okay.
Just maybe just keep passing it around like hot potato. It's fine. Can we get out of here?
A fine idea.
Who is leading the charge out of this room?
Not Dagmar.
May I, perhaps, for once, take a lead?
Maya, the path seems to guide your footprints. As you dance along these corridors, you keep walking. Everything seems a little less put together here. It all seems a little more raw, more natural. Something a little more feral than where you were before. And as you move, you can follow where Astrid points these drag marks headed, until something blocks your path. Constructed of wood paneling. There is a door in the middle, made up of 6 panels arranged in rectangular shape. On each panel of this door, a flower has been drawn in different colored paints.
How miraculous.
It's the cipher. It's the cipher, isn't it?
It may be an answer. Yes. Wow. Goodness. The book, yes. The book. May I ruffle through my petticoat to reveal the book?
Of course you may. You pull this book out, and as you flick through, you see that indeed the painting style of the flowers within the book very much matches the flowers that are depicted here. You can see there is a sort of bluish purple flower. There is a sort of a blooming rose. There's a sort of yellow daisy-like flower all on the top row. And then on the bottom row, there is maybe a bell of some sort, a white rose, and a small yellow flower.
Friends, would you perhaps like to gaze upon these pages and decipher alongside?
Maya, your empathy and your observation add an additional dice for anyone who is helping in this endeavor.
Yeah, Dagmar helps.
Okay, 1.
Trying to match these patterns, the drawing of the flower to these images.
Yep. Okay, 2. So, and Johan, you 2?
I'm not sure how I can help, but I will cheer you on and tell you that you can do it.
Understood. So just a dice for Dagmar and Astrid.
One success.
1 success. As you flick through them, you note how the top one is an iris. I send a message. A wild rose. Pleasure and pain. A yellow marguerite. I'm on my way. And the lower 3, a Canterbury bell. Message received. A white rose. I cannot. And a yellow pansy. Think of you.
'Tis almost as though the door would like to speak. But in
What
what
is it?
pattern?
What does it want to say?
Perhaps. It is looking for an answer for sure, but what kind of answer in what pattern?
As you look at it, you can't help but notice that the panel's ever so slightly raised.
May I. What did the first panel say again?
It was an iris, which
An
means I
iris.
send a message.
May I gently press this panel?
You may. As you press it down, you feel it depress under your touch.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happens, but you feel that there is a give there.
Plates that depress.
They
Okay.
move, Maya.
There was a slight give, yes. But I don't believe it was the answer. Would you like to take a peek, Astrid? For I know you are one who is able to deal with puzzles a lot better than I.
I will certainly attempt my best.
Astrid, roll me your logic and investigation, please. Or your logic and learning, whichever is better.
Two successes.
2 successes, fantastic. As you have a look around and you sort of try and match each panel to each flower, you note that when you press one down, there is almost an absence of any response to it. And as you push it, you get the feeling that there should be. So you try every panel until you find one that clicks. The Canterbury Bell. Message received. Given that, you begin working your way through the other panels, pressing them down. Eventually, you end up with click, message received. Click, pleasure and pain. Click, I'm on my way. And as you click this third one down, you feel the door give under your hand.
I believe the door is now open.
I knew you could do it, Astrid. You and puzzles. You are like a match made in the astral planes.
Indeed.
So what's behind it?
A fine question.
As the door creaks open under your hand, Astrid, it's the smell that hits you first. It's rot and squalor. Sugars left to blacken and liquefy. Fruits, bread, and meat turning into soil. The stink of unwash. It's pitch black as the door shuts behind you. But as you walk inside, your lanterns illuminate what lies ahead. There's a table. And at the head of the table, there's a figure. As you step in, your lanterns illuminate who it is. A stranger to all but one of you. A stranger that opens his mouth, and in a cracked and broken voice, Lord Vansel Angstrom manages to creak out the word, Dagmar. And that is where we will take a slightly early break, friends. And we will come back in about 10 minutes to resolve what lies beyond this door for our heroes. Once again, we find our Thursday's children deep underground. They have traversed caverns to get here on the request of a strange Vaesen that they met only an hour or so before. And as they step past a bookcase hidden by the noble language of the flowers, they step into a banquet hall that has been rotted and ravaged by time. Lord Vansel Angstrom is appallingly thin, emaciated down to a shadow of his former self. His once fine coat, shirt, and breeches are stained and tattered. His once thick salt and pepper hairs falling out in places, and his eyes are reddened and carry a deep-seated exhaustion. Around him, the vestiges of a life of luxury are scattered and eroding. Shattered glass sculptures, slashed portraiture of people in their finery, gilded chests and cabinets full of various trinkets. Behind him is a steel door that is weeping rust. The figure seems too weak to move as he sits at the head of this table, but his eyes are fixed on Dagmar.
And so is that really you?
Yes. Yes, it is.
But really, and Dagmar's checking, reading if it's not just some trick played by a Vaesen.
Roll me your empathy and your observation. Are you moving closer?
Ever so slightly.
Ever so slightly. All right.
Observation. One success.
If you hadn't known him so well, he would be almost unrecognizable due to the lack of the amount of malnourishment that has occurred to his body since you last saw him. But as you stare at him and he stares at you, there's that familiar glint in those eyes of secrets and stories that you could never quite get out of him, and it's that glint that makes you sure it's him.
Oh, thank God. And Dagmar runs over and just hugs him immediately and doesn't let go. As
you go over, he sort of cries out in discomfort at the touch. He seems very hurt. And as you sort of look down, you notice that his legs aren't sitting right at all. There is something odd and disjointed about them. They're angled incorrectly. They appear crooked and painfully malformed.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Someone, please. Astrid, you can... Somebody grab something,
Dagmar.
Maya, do you have potions?
Dagmar. It's okay. He just sort of takes your hands. It's barely there. His touch is like a spider's web. It's so fragile, his skin. You almost imagine that if you put the lantern light up to it, you could see right through his hand. He just sort of takes your hands. It's a bit late for that, darling.
What's going on? What happened to you? There's so much going on, Vansel, and I don't know what's going on.
I'm sorry. Oh, Dagmar, I am so sorry. I couldn't let them have you. was trying to protect you. I've only ever tried to protect you, I promise.
Protect me from what?
The family. There is tumult in the court. The lineage is not what it used to be. The blood weakens, and the family is restless, concerned about what this means. That's why I'm here. I was told to make a deal with whatever I needed to make sure the family prospered, and I did so. But I didn't realize the price. I didn't realize what the cost would be. At first I could stomach it. I didn't know these children. I didn't know those who I would give. I would simply tell them that they were helping. And they were, and I believed it. And then he asked for you. He asked for one of the blood. And you were the only one nearby. You have to understand I would not. Not ever. It had to be her. But he didn't take her. And now everything's broken.
Take who?
The girl. What was her name? I don't know. A rabble-rouser.
Alice, sir. Her name was Alice.
She was a troublemaker.
What have you done?
What I had to. What I did, what I had to. You don't understand. You could never understand. You never had to. And you won't understand. You don't have to. I won't let them pull you into this too. It's better that you stay ignorant. And that you can live your life. You can let us worry about this mess.
It's too late. I'm already in it. I'm here.
You weren't supposed to be. You weren't supposed to be.
I don't know who, but people are coming after us.
I know. It's your society, Dagmar. It was doomed to fail from the beginning. They're reckless. I didn't realize you'd thrown your lot in with them.
You used to tell me stories of the creatures, and when I started to see them, and they told me they saw them too, I thought of you, and I felt closer to you.
They only believe in their studies, Dagmar. Your society collapsed under the weight of its own rot. The family is all that matters.
What family? You know better than anyone that I don't have a family.
You are of the blood, girl. I can't escape it, and neither can you. I think your friends know a little more about that too. And his eyes sort of flicker over to you, Maya.
What do you mean? Maya?
Maybe it's the dust.
Maybe she doesn't know. Maybe it's better that way. And at this point, he starts coughing, and it is a horrible, ragged, echoing noise. As he sort of finishes sputtering, there's a spurt of blood that trickles out from over his lip. And a chunk of something red that he coughs up into his palm and discards onto the floor.
Pencil, here, take this.
Thank you.
I don't know what happened to you, and I don't know what you did, and I'm not sure I want to know, but there is a creature out there that I think wants you. I think it wants to kill you.
I know. This is the only way I can deprive him of my blood. I will die in here instead of in his clutches.
But don't you know? You have this opportunity to continue to protect Dagmar by giving yourself to him. If not, then, I'm afraid we all will perish here with you.
Astrid, stop.
Like he didn't?
Perhaps it's kind of that way.
I don't think it has to be either way. I think we can just get you out of here, and if we can just find someone to take a look at you, and I'm sure there's something to be done, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure out what happened, and whatever you did, maybe there's something to be done. I don't know.
All I did was make a business that prospered. I recovered this stupid, stinking fishing port into something worthwhile, and how did they repay me? With uprisings. Disrespect. The money that kept you in comfort growing up. The money that kept the estate. When it burned down, I donated. All that matters is the family. I will not let this creature get the better of me.
What happens when the creature gets you?
I don't know.
I feel like the family got to you. This sick, twisted family, I don't believe this is you.
Dagmar, please roll me a empathy and observation test.
Yes. Two successes.
As you watch his face, you notice how there's something off. Before, you knew him to have a sort of more easygoing countenance, a sort of affable, easy way of speaking that would immediately put everyone at the room at ease. You also know that he often wore a sort of band on his right hand, a steel bracelet. Not with any embellishments on it, but it was always there. As you look down at his wrist now, it isn't there, but what is there is a angry red scorch mark that rings his wrist.
What happened to your wrist?
The price of my failure.
What does that mean, Wenzel?
It means before I betrayed him, in my betrayal of him, I betrayed the family. Do what is necessary. I didn't do what is necessary. What would have been necessary was when you got here, convincing you to give yourself up to the people of the water. And he would have taken you, and there would have been another 5 years of prosperity before something else had to be taken. I couldn't do that. Out of all of them, only you. Only you could ever do it. You're the only one of us who's free. If anyone can stop them, it's you.
How do I stop them?
I don't know. When the estate burned, I had hoped it would take some of their foul routine down with them, but it only strengthened their resolve. Which is why we're where we are today.
All right. Can you walk?
They broke my legs. So no.
And I look to the rest, like, we have to get him out of here. I don't care what he did. I know you do, and that's fair. But giving him to the monster was clearly involved in all of this. There's not a single party to blame. The water monster was just as much a part of this, and I refuse to go along with this. And we will get Wenzel out of here, and we will figure out something. I don't care what something. Johan, could you carry him?
Absolutely. But first things first here, Mr. Guy that Dagmar knows super well. This is all super over my head right now. And I know you did something really, really bad, but it was for a good cause. So we're going to put you on my back. We're going to figure this thing out. Okay. And you're going to go talk to this monster, tell him you're sorry. And then when you do all that, we're all going to get out of here.
Johan, I don't think that's a good idea.
Wait, why?
I think that monster is not to be trusted. And I just think we should try and get the hell out of here.
Maybe
monster?
We're just like, I think we just need to talk about it first. See where he's coming from, and then meet in the middle somewhere here, right?
Which monster is not to be trusted, Dagmar?
The one that isn't broken into pieces. The one that can, in fact, do stuff to us. That one.
Okay. So simply because he spared your life and not the lives of others, you wish to save this man?
I wish to save this man because I think this is a good man, and I don't know what's going on.
A good man. A good man.
Do you know nothing of Vaesen, Astrid?
Oh, I know plenty. I know
Then
not to make deals with them.
you know that nothing is ever like it seems. We don't know for sure what's going on here, and I'm not about to throw someone to their death that I've known in my life to be a good person.
People change, Dagmar. It is past time you learned that.
More people die from dog bites every year. This industry kept thousands alive.
Now, either you're going to help me or not.
I will not.
This is why your society failed. Infighting. Pathetic.
Okay, that's enough of you, guy. Get on my back. We're gonna make some moves and get out of here, okay?
Fine.
Previous sacrifices. Did they mean naught to you?
They
Sir?
meant plenty at the time. They meant the summation of their purpose, and their purpose was met.
Then perhaps you have now created your own purpose. Through the actions that were clearly selfish, although the path has clearly drawn us to a glorious being in that, but I believe you have cemented your purpose now, sir.
I die here either way.
Then why not the way that ensures Dagmar survives?
Because I won't let him.
But we did make a deal. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
Still remember that eye joke? Oh, dang.
You'd be surprised how well it works.
Sure. Feed more to the one who actually murdered all of these children.
We don't
I
even know if
still
he's
wish-
telling the truth or not.
I know that he's telling the truth.
No,
It's-
the demon
he's-
guy.
Well, that's a good point, Johan.
You know he's okay. So let us think back. What did he just tell us? He told us he made the deal with the Vaesen, and then he took the people and sacrificed them to the Vaesen. It sounds to me as though the words that you trust that this man spoke betray his complicity and his actions that led to the deaths of these innocents, not the Vaesens.
It's just a monster.
As are you. Quiet.
Monsters
death-
are beings, also.
Death awaits us all. Wenzel will meet his end at some point, whether that's here, over at the monster, or somewhere else. I vote somewhere else so we could at least discover more, figure out more, instead of just throwing someone to their death. I will not have a hand in that. If you feel comfortable doing that, if you can sleep at night doing that, then good for you. I will not. I will take my chances. So one more time, either you're with me or you're not. Either way, me and Wenzel are heading out of here.
But do you wish to anger the lands that we tread upon? Further than they
Gladly.
are?
Gladly, if it means I get to know more. If it means I get to figure out what's going on here. If it means I get to figure out why Wenzel has done this in the first place. And definitely if it means not working together with the monster that has gladly murdered a plethora of children. You saw the beach. You were at the beach.
Due to a deal that he has made.
I don't understand why this is so difficult to grasp. Nobody is denying what he did. I'm not saying that he hasn't done what he did. All I'm saying is that I wish to find out more, and that I don't want to be the person who continued to struck a deal with that monster.
You see, Dagmar, they only care when it matters to them.
We care
Turns
when
out
it
they
matters
do.
to friends and family.
Then what am I?
I consider you one of us. Family.
Friend? Family? Then surely what I think and feel right now matters.
It matters, but unfortunately, the
I'm
astral
not-
plane calls. Whether
Maya.
now, whether later.
Later.
His path is entwined.
Maya, you're not God. We can't say that. If the astral planes wish for him, then that shall happen. I cannot control that, neither can you. All I'm saying is that that's not up to us to decide, and I will stop anybody who will try to.
It shouldn't be up to us. However, he's made it up to himself with his actions. And by sounds of it, actions of many others beyond the moons.
So you would walk away from someone knowing full well it will end in their death and claim none of that responsibility of your own?
If I am aware by tying together the brambles within my mind, he has been the reason that I have lost my friend. He is the reason I had to go through such a journey. Although it has met with such a pleasant arise of joining with you lot. But to make a deal with a creature beyond these plains that have been here for many moons, we have tread upon its lands. Surely we can at least end this now. So that there is no more loss. He said it himself, it's within the blood. Who's to say you may not need to take on the same steps, the same rules that he seems to abide by now, where he has decided, he has made this deal. Perhaps the beings beyond the moons have made this deal to control the lives of others. For gain? Sure. Sure, it may have given thousands of beings comfort and joy. But at the cost of children, the cost of loved ones, unfortunately, we have to make sacrifices in this world. The journey and the paths are never quite so soft and mellow. Sometimes they're filled with stinging nettles that we have to tread through and make the difficult decisions.
Maya, I gave you a knife
Yes.
because I wanted you to protect yourself. Because I care for you and I don't want you to get hurt. Grab it and do it. It's right there. Do it.
It is not my place to do.
Oh, is it not?
It's the creatures.
It's the same thing. Dagmar goes over to Johan and signals to carry Wenzel instead. I'm assuming he's light enough at this point that she can.
Johan is more than able to pick up Wenzel. He is.
But that
skeleton.
Dagmar.
Sure.
Dagmar picks it over.
Of course.
We're gonna leave. And you can follow me as a friend or not at all. And Dagmar starts to back out of the room with Wenzel.
As you go to which door are you headed to?
I'm not fully aware which doors there are.
You've got a rust weeping steel door that was behind Wenzel's body, and then the door that you came through, which has since clicked shut.
Dagmar asks, Wenzel, what's the quickest way out of here?
He sort of points over at the rusty door.
Then that's where she's headed.
Okay. Dagmar, as you open this door, you push through it into yet more tunnels. The rest of you, are you following?
I would like to take a moment.
Understood. Dagmar, you are able to walk unimpeded out of the room. And we will revisit you shortly.
All right.
Maya, Johan, and Astrid, you watch as Dagmar disappears into the dark with Wenzel, a lantern in her hand, as she lights the way.
Blood for blood. I did not anticipate this.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could have, honestly.
What path shall we take?
Well, I think we know where we all stand, but I think we should definitely side with Dagmar because she's our friend, and there's a lot of things we don't still understand. You know, didn't the guy say something about, like feeding 5 years? Like, if we leave with this guy, it's just going to be somebody else and in more destruction. I literally think that creature is the problem. And it's, if your loved one was on the fence here or on the chopping block, you would probably do anything to save that person as well. So I think his heart was in the right direction. It was just a really, really bad turnout. So I don't think innately he's a bad guy. I just think that some bad stuff ended up happening. So I'm going to sit here and try to protect everyone who is alive now to try to move forward and then have a better future. So I'm going to side with Dagmar.
But did the creature not say they would destroy this whole area so that this will not continue if we gave them him?
And you think the creature's just going to kill itself because we did what it asked? And be like, oh, here you go.
Correct.
Not itself.
Never. Yes.
The land.
And where's it going to live?
Johan, they live in the water. If any family of mine did what this man did, I would drive the knife into their heart myself.
Even if they protected you?
Even if they protected me. If
did
they have
protect the
chosen
others.
my life over countless others,
I do see where Dagmar's coming from, though. But I do not believe this is the route to take. We made a deal.
It was like a half deal, You're like, kind of like maybe,
It was a deal. And we know full too well, if we do not follow these traditions, exactly what it may result.
Johan,
Maya, please make me a empathy and observation test.
One success.
Maya, as you say this was a deal. This is important. We all know what happens if we renege. You feel something stir in your blood. You feel the familiar sensation of power dancing in your veins. You feel something in your mind click and connect with something around you. And you find yourself moving in tandem with the low breeze through this chamber. You feel the roar of the waves outside, and you feel yourself resonating with them. You feel a connection to the land on a daily basis. That's not unfamiliar to you, but now more than ever, you speak with conviction. A deal is a deal. You are a being of nature, and so is he, and you would not take that lightly.
A deal is a deal.
Johan, I do not know how long you have had this sight, how long you have dealt with these creatures of the land, but though they may be capricious, they uphold their bargains to a fault.
Listen,
We can
Astrid,
escape.
what is capricious?
We may not understand how they think or why they do the things they do, but when they strike a deal, they will hold fast to it. They will honor it completely.
All I'm coming from is from this point on, I'm tired of the bloodshed, and we don't need to kill anybody. And if we can get out of here with everyone not dying or spilling any more blood, I'm on board. So that's where I'm standing on.
I fear one of ours blood may spill if we do not fulfill this bargain. Do you not feel that within your toes against this floor?
It's a very cold floor, so no, I get it. But you know, still side with Dagmar. And honestly, I see that we're probably not going to meet in the middle on this, at least not anytime soon. So I'm going to go see what's going on with Dagmar and see if she needs any help. And I'll let you guys figure it out, because I'm going to go see how my friend is doing.
Okay. And Johan storms out of the room to join Dagmar. We will catch up briefly with Dagmar as she strides through these passageways. Alone, apart from your friends, but closer to family than you have been in a very, very, very long time. As you walk, you hear the labored breathing of Wenzel as he clings on. He's clearly trying not to show any signs of pain or distress. He's very clearly trying his best here to not alarm you any more than you have been about his state, trying to keep a stiff upper lip, but you hear the hiss of pain through his teeth every time you move slightly. His legs are painfully disjointed, and you can tell they've been broken in several places. As you keep walking, there's a trickle of water that runs down the side of the rock face and feeds a shallow river, meandering its way down the tunnel in the direction you're headed. And far beyond, you hear the roar of ocean waves.
Don't worry, it'll be all right. We'll figure something out. It'll be all right.
Such a good girl, Dagmar. You didn't deserve this.
I don't think anyone here deserves this.
No.
But we'll figure something out.
It's your decision. It shouldn't have to be your decision. If I'd have had my way, you would have never have known any of this existed.
I can't believe that you cared about that stupid family to begin with, though. I always thought you were different.
Dagmar, the blood is all we have. Money can be burned away. Possessions can be destroyed. Friends can be killed. But the blood is all that you have that remains with you from the moment you are born to the moment you die. The blood is what matters. In the blood there is power. You will come to see that in time. No matter how far you try and run from it, it will always be with you.
You might be right. You might be right. Is there a way we can avoid the water? I think that would be wise.
No. No, there isn't.
I'm gonna try. Okay, I'm gonna really try, but if it comes for us, I I don't know. I don't know if I can take him, but I'm gonna try.
Well, if you do find your way off of this godforsaken spit of land, Dagmar, you must remember the power lies in the blood. That's all that matters. And he falls silent before bursting into another hacking cough. And you can feel the blood spatter on your shoulder. As you walk down the tunnel, you begin to see light up ahead. However, unlike the previous blue-green glow you saw in the water, this reflects rainbow hues of dappled light across the walls, rippling patches of illumination that morph and play upon the stonework like dancing firelight. The tunnel continues past here unimpeded. And as you turn the corner, you can see what the cause of the light is. As you step into this space, you hear footsteps behind you, jogging up, as Johan joins you. Johan, as you step up beside Dagmar, you too can see the cause of this dappled rainbow light. Lining a long stretch of natural corridor are small pond-like holes in the floor, little bigger than the circumference of a small bucket's lip in diameter and about as deep, filled to the top with water. Each is lit by a different color of glow that spreads a gentle emanating pulse across the cavern and mingles with other hues to form beautiful patterns that weave and mingle together. On one side of the cavern are red, orange, and yellow, and on the other are purple, blue, and green. At the bottom of each pool, lighting it with a gently pulsing aura, are small discs of some sort of precious stone, upon which sits an item.
What are those? Hi, Johan, by the way.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Fensel, do you know what this is?
I believe it's artifact storage of some sort. I was never told what any of them were. We weren't supposed to touch them.
Dagmar tries to spot if she recognizes or sees anything.
Sure. As you walk around each of these pools, you can quite easily see these small items that are laid within each of them. Johan, you quite easily see this as well. In the red pool, there is a small chalice that's been cut in half down the middle, with two halves lying flat on the stone like a dissected creature. On the orange, there is a small skull. It looks to be like a ram skull, but in miniature, with a smaller skull of something of the same variety nestled in its mouth. Upon the yellow, there is a lock of dark hair that's been tied back with ribbon. On the purple, a small black gem about the size of a fingernail. On the blue, a small patch of iridescent scales with the texture of a shedded snake skin. And on the green, a small metal coin with an intriguing design.
Okay, this is weird.
Don't know what this means. And you were told not to touch it? Did they tell you what would happen if you did?
No, this place was used as a thoroughfare, only to get to the hidden cove that way. And he points ahead to where the tunnel keeps going, past these iridescent pools and further into the darkness.
Is there anything you want to do, Johan?
I mean, honestly, yeah, the sooner we get out of here, the better, in my opinion.
You might be right. Let's head on.
You head on? Okay. Johan and Dagmar blaze the trail on ahead further into the dark, and we see them as their backs disappear further down the tunnel, Dagmar's lantern swinging, and as the glow dissipates and leaves, we lose sight of them into the darkness. We will rejoin Maya and Astrid as once again we, on the back of a batwing, make our way down the tunnel and re-enter the small, putrid safe haven.
May I look around the room?
Of course you may. Please roll me your logic and investigation.
No successes.
No successes. Everything's in too much of a state of disrepair to really get any good grasp on. All the portraiture has been slashed directly across the faces. The statues have been shattered and smashed. Any food and drink has long since turned to oil and rust and dirt.
Broken. Such like the situation. Astrid?
Yes, my dear.
How are you?
To be quite truthful, Maya, I am at a loss.
I, for once feel the path is almost foggy. I did not wish to see our Astrid. I see us not just as traveling companions, but more of a home, like the shell upon a snail. And to see it be smushed as though some being has stepped upon it, causing it to crack and shatter. It's filling my heart with pitter-patters of rain.
I do not know what is our path forward. I too do not see any ending that is leads to any of our survival, but I cannot just I cannot leave Dagmar to
No.
have whatever befall her. I could not do that.
No, I could not bear to see it, if I'm honest.
Yet I could not simply reach forward and wring the neck of the one who did this here.
I don't believe that they realize what we have made back there. How this ties together. This is indeed a deal. You know just as well as I how grave this deal may be. However, if I recall way back in the caverns, it feels almost so long ago. The sacrifice needs to be of the willing, not of the unwilling, which is where he went wrong.
Yes. Yes.
I feel as though if we were to follow through with Dagmar's path? Because a goblin may have caught my tongue. How curious. A path. I feel as though, if one of us need to be willing to retain some sort of shell of home. To see you all carry on. Perhaps one or I dip our toes into this deal. But nonetheless, our path goes onwards. We should make haste.
I suppose so.
As you head forwards, are you heading down the rust-covered door and the tunnels beyond?
If that leads us forward, then yes.
Understood. As you go, Maya, you feel that connection with the land around you begin to flourish and bloom like its own flower within your chest. Something in you feels different now, more certain. And Astrid, as you look over at Maya again, you note that she appears to have gotten a little taller, a trifle more ethereal. Sometimes when she steps, she doesn't quite touch the ground. And in her hair, growing amongst the feathers and the matted knots, are tiny wildflowers.
Astrid, do not lollygag.
Apologies, I'm simply concerned.
Concerned how?
Well, I feel that this place has changed us.
It has been a period of growth, you might say.
Indeed. And you have certainly flowered beautifully under this sod.
Sometimes the steps we take may not be the ones you may think.
You both make your way down these dark tunnels. Astrid, you light the way with your lantern, and eventually you come across that same rainbow hue that plays across the walls and lights the dampness of it, the moisture that trickles down the sides in condensation, like small rivers. And then those 6 pools, each lit up with a different color, each occupied by a different item of curious nature. Dagmar, Astrid, as you look around, one in particular catches your eye. Please roll me a logic and learning test.
One success.
As you two meander your way along this hall, Astrid, the green glow catches your eye, and as you move over to it, you see a small metal coin. You recognize the design as Armenian. Medieval Armenian in nature. Having dabbled briefly in the history of Armenian coinage, you're aware that these coins, this coin in particular, is likely from the reign of King Levon III. He reigned for about 20 years, and this seems to be the coronation issue tram. You know that they weigh just under 3 grams or so. As you peer closer, you see the figure of King Levon himself, kneeling before the Virgin Mary, her hands raised in prayer, while a ray of light shines down from above.
Maya, one moment.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Maya, do any of these items seem familiar to you in any way?
Allow me to take a closer gaze.
Maya, your empathy and observation, please, my dear.
Drats.
Nothing.
Nothing.
At this point, I can, of course, offer you a bit of a devil's bargain. You're familiar with deals. I will invite you to make another. You're aware of the consequence should you choose to.
That I am. And it is a deal I would like to take.
Understood. Please make me your reroll.
2 successes.
Very good. As you run your finger along the tops of these pools, you disturb the water. The mirrored surfaces are still and calm, but as you disturb them, the ripples spread out from where you hit, and they hit the sides, causing the items within to judder like an unsure hummingbird's wing, just fluttering. They all seem purposeful, and they all seem like they've been here a very, very long time. You can see how the rock has sort of accumulated around it, although it has as though it has not been disturbed for a very long time. But one particular item catches your attention. One of them, the very small skull in which another skull sits, seems oddly familiar to you. You notice that the creature is almost exactly the same as the one that you would see when you were a girl. The one that would hop on the fence posts beside you with long, elegant feathers and iridescent wings, a sharp, inquisitive beak, piercing, pinprick eyes, and you would follow it as it sits on a fence post and eyes you curiously. It would allow you to come close, and then it would fly away again. You remember how, at one point, you followed it to its nest, and you saw as it gave its food to its young, it shifted and changed, grew larger, slightly other. You saw within its mouth a smaller entity emerge, reach an almost human-like appendage out of the mouth of this bird and stroke the head of one of the baby birds before this tiny little winged creature that resided inside the bird retreated back inside itself. So as you consider this, that you are going to realize and remember that the reason you were able to find the bird's nest that day was because Natalia had told you where it was. Natalia had showed you, just like she showed you so many things, and that man who Dagmar escorted out of here is responsible for her no longer being able to show you anything else, is responsible for you being alone for so long, and you're going to take the angry condition for me.
Very well. The only pool that seems to give me such emotion is one that brings back my childhood. Did you say that one of these reminded you of a time?
Well, perhaps not my childhood. I'm not quite this old, but this coin is from my home.
How curious. Perhaps I may be playing with air here. Perhaps this may be more thought out than meets our eyes. Perhaps this is meant to mean something to us.
Perhaps so.
If only as Dagmar and Johan were here to confirm the suspicion.
Indeed. Astrid hovers a hand over the green bowl and then darts her hand in to try to snag the coin.
As you do so, you are almost shocked by how cold it is. The water in this pool is sub-zero in temperature. It's almost painful to the touch. But you are able to plunge your hand in, grab the coin, and snatch it back out. Glancing at it, you turn it over in your hand, and you notice with almost a dark humor that on the very back of the coin, on the reverse to what you saw earlier, you see there is a lion there, rearing back to almost an exaltation to a sun that isn't visible. And you see that behind it there is a cross, a double-barred cross. Knowing that this is likely a coin from King Levon's reign, you are amused to consider that it was likely a pun on the Frankish equivalent of King Levon's name, Leo.
Thank you for indulging me, Maya. Let us keep this in mind as we try to catch up to our friends.
Yes.
As you both press on, we will once again note as at the very top of the cavern, Maya and Astrid, you see a small bat-like creature step off of the ceiling, spread long leathery wings, and dart ahead of you. And we will follow this creature as it swoops, soundless and soaring, along the tops of the caverns, towards where we see Johan and Dagmar heading further into the dark. You two walk past the glowing cavern, down a few more equally dark hallways. You hear a up ahead as something flies by, until you reach a crossroads where the path splits to the left and right. Down the left you hear the gentle lapping of ocean waves, and down the right you hear the low whistle of a gentle wind.
Do you know which way to go, Venzel?
I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how much help I'm going to be. As you sort of look over at him, Johan, Dagmar, it's harder for you to see since he is on your back, but Johan, you note that he is sort of dropping in and out of consciousness.
Dagmar, I don't think he's doing so hot.
I know. That's why we need to move fast. Shit. Where are we going? I mean...
We just gotta pick a spot and just go. There's no way we're gonna know, and splitting up is a bad idea. So, I don't, just left or right, your call. What are we doing?
Let's go left.
Left it is.
Left towards the ocean waves?
I think it's dangerous, but we know that that's at least a way out. We'll just try to stay as far from the ocean as we can.
As you make your way down the passage where the sound of the water is loudest, you walk until it opens out into a large cavern. Stepping out into the space, you notice that you have come back around to where you were before. This is the cave entrance that you saw opposite the hut in the hidden docks. And now you stand in this hidden cave entrance overlooking the bioluminescent water of the hidden cove. You also see, as you look ahead, stopping in your tracks, the silhouetted figure of the merman as he sits on the end of one of the piers, sort of flicking his tail gently in the water. His head is tilted back as he stares up at the night sky that has once again descended, snatching the day from the world. The melody of his song reaches you as he sings it to the stars, and it's that oh so familiar tune with the words that you now understand. You who gave me the life of the unwilling, you who sacrificed what was not yours to give, you will die by what you fear the most.
Before I step out into the cavern, I would like to ask Fenzel a question. Fenzel, can I ask you a question?
You don't hear a response.
Fenzel, please, I need an answer. I kind of gently shake my shoulder a little.
He doesn't respond. Johan, you see that he has passed out.
I head back into the cavern a little bit and try to put him down and I really need to, and I carefully try to I take a little bit of the bottle and I don't make him drink it but splash a little bit in his face, try to get him back to consciousness.
Make me a precision and medicine roll.
Two successes.
Mm-hmm. You are able to sort of sit him down on a ledge of rock, and with water and some coaxing, you are able to sort of bring him back to consciousness. He looks like he's barely hanging in there, but he looks like he's listening to you. His eyes sort of have a cogency back to them as they fix on you.
Fenzel, I need to know.
What?
We're getting out of here. I know. Who in my family asked you to do this? Who was it?
There is not one of them. There are many.
Give me any name.
I can't, Dagmar.
All right. Listen, whoever wants you is up ahead. I don't know if we need to turn back or if we should face it. I don't know. I'm scared. I don't know.
He sort of reaches up and cups your face in his hand. Again, it's that spider web, barely there touch, and his hand is freezing cold. He just says, maybe your friend was right. Maybe she was right. I know I am to die here. I cannot bear to see you be dragged down with me. Even though everything in my body tells me not to. not to satisfy this creature's base whim. It's nothing more than a dying remnant of an old world that will soon be superseded by industry. His kind won't last forever. But if him taking me means you get to leave this place, then maybe it's worth it.
No, I won't let him. I won't let him. But I am gonna end this. And she hoists Fenzel back up and heads towards the cavern where the creature is.
Okay, striding towards the hidden dock. Understood. Johanna, you going with Dagmar?
Not only am I going, but I'm going to lead the charge in case anything pops off.
Understood. Dagmar and Johan, once again, we watch as they, striding together, exit the caverns and head towards the hidden dock. Johan with blade drawn, Dagmar with the man who raised her over her back. And we will once again follow a winged creature as it soars past the entrance of a cavern, curves around, and then heads back in. Maya and Astrid, once again you hear as something flies close overhead, and you find yourself at a crossroads. To the left, you hear the lapping of ocean waves, and to the right, you hear a low whistle of a keening wind.
Maya, you have never guided us wrong before, and I'm afraid I do not know. I do not know which way Dagmar may have gone.
She wanted to escape, did she not? Then I believe that it's clearly she likely headed towards the waters. Do you hear that in the distance? That sounds like salvation. However, I don't believe that would be the salvation she would hope for if she headed towards the waters.
No. Indeed not. But I trust you.
Maya, make me an empathy and observation roll, please.
No successes.
No successes. You try to tap into the resonance of the world around you, but all you can hear is the ocean and the wind. And almost in the wind, intermingled in it, is you can imagine almost a gentle laugh. Just every now and again.
Is that joy upon the wind? That is not quite something I was expecting to hear. Astrid.
Yes.
Do we head towards the waters? Where surely Dagmar and Johan are likely with that being. I suspect that is where a deal may be made. Or do we head towards this whistly wind and down this chamber? I fear I will let my emotions guide me, which is why I ask you of this.
If they have gone to the waters, then we already have, I fear, lost any control over that situation. Let us allow them the space to make those decisions, and
Perhaps they will see that a deal is not so easy to back out of.
yes, and I am hopeful that it is what they will need, and that our paths may cross again.
Maybe wish they cross again.
Toward the wind, then.
Following the sound of the wind, you make your way down a dark corridor. Eventually, it leads you into where a cavern opens into a dark space. Once again, there is a singular point of light that pierces down from the roof of the cavern. It illuminates the boughs of a singular tree growing up out of packed dirt and rock. Its twisting boughs and leafless branches mimic long, spindly arms as they twist in odd contortions. In the middle of the tree, there is a dark hollow. The pinprick of light streaming down into the middle of the cavern seems to make the shadows within the tree and around the edges all the deeper.
Astrid?
Yes.
Correct me if my eye is wrong. We are in a land that is rather damp, and there's a tree up ahead.
Yes. Do you see what is inside it? I cannot make it out.
I think you'll need to get a little closer first.
If you wish to get closer, Astrid, please take careful tiptoes and try not to disturb the bark.
Astrid, as you move forward, you see that in the hollow of this tree sits a crown. Sat atop a bed of bracken and ash. It's a circlet of metallic ivy. 3 rings of vines make up the circlet, and amongst the burnished bronze-coloured leaves are brutal, long-looking thorns.
Maya,
Astrid,
do you think perhaps these leaves would wish their heart back?
I believe that may be the way. Be careful, Astrid.
Are you picking up the crown?
No, I am placing the heart into the crown.
Please make me your logic or your empathy roll.
One success.
As you place the heart within the crown, you feel something begin to resonate with it. You watch as the heart once again begins to glow. Its red glow. Once again, it begins to beat. And as it lies there in the circlet, the leaves of the circlet begin to change color. They become green and beautifully alive, almost growing out of the crown itself, out of the metal. And as it flowers, the tree itself begins to change somewhat. There's a smell in the air. Something heady, strong. And as you watch, you see a trickle of something begin to trail its way down the bark of the tree and then drip onto the floor. Another trickle. Drip. Another. Drip. Bright red drops. The tree is bleeding. But the crown has flourished. And as it does so, the heart goes silent once again.
Maya, I believe the tree is bleeding.
It appears that way, doesn't it? After all, even a tree may have life.
I cannot tell if this is a wound I have inflicted or fresh blood I have given it.
I would say perhaps it may have been an exchange of some sort here. So I believe you may be right there. But what kind of exchange, I do not know.
There is a crown, but I am not immediately keen to take it.
But it appears you have awakened it. Three spirits. Please forgive me if I misstep, and I am sure you will give me some sign if I have. And Astrid carefully reaches in to grasp the crown and waits a beat before lifting it out carefully.
You are able to lift the crown from the tree. Astrid, please make me your logic or your empathy roll.
Two successes.
As you take the crown, you feel an ozone-like scent begin to hit your nose. You feel a zing in your fingers, zany and intense, almost like when something very exciting happens and the tips of your fingers go numb. And you stand there for a moment holding this crown, and it takes you a minute to remember where you are, because for a second, you're back in your study room in Uppsala. For a second, you're in that hallowed, beautiful hall of erudite knowledge and acclaim. For a second, there are index cards and desks, people meandering around tall bookshelves and stacks. People talking, in-depth, intelligent conversations. And as you look ahead, you see somebody put a book back on a shelf. Her long red hair trailing down her back as she replaces it. She turns around and sees you and waves. And then a second later, another blink, and you're back in front of the tree, holding a crown. And the tree has stopped bleeding.
Thank you.
Astrid, have you any mental conditions at present?
2.
You may wipe one out.
Perhaps we shall learn what we can do with this on our journey. Maya, I do not know if you wish to, but do you wish to see this strange crown?
If I may? Okay.
Maya, make me your logic or your empathy roll as you take the crown in your hands.
Empathy or logic?
Whichever one you see fit.
My empathy seems to have left the caverns, I suppose.
Maya, as you take the crown in your hands, you really want to put it on.
Dare I?
The urge is becoming very hard to ignore.
Maya? Dare you what? Don't tell me you wish to eat it like Dagmar ate pieces of the heart.
Not eat, no. I do not wish to consume the material, at least. Something within me beckons to place it upon my head.
Maya, that looks dangerous. Look, the thorns. Please, please. Perhaps here. Let me.
You won't allow it to be taken from you. You know the only way to stop her is to put it on.
I think not.
Maya.
I place the crown upon my head before Astrid can stop.
Maya, as you place the crown upon your brow, you feel yourself pulled through somewhere, as though your hand has been grabbed. And you hear a laugh just to the side of you. You stand at the top of a great banquet hall. A table spans the length of it, upon which food has been laid. Candles slowly melt into ghostly pools of wax on the wood, and stood behind each of the chairs is a cloaked individual. Under the cloaks, the hoods are all up, and the faces of the people are hidden, but you can make out the forms of finely cut coats, breeches, and dresses, the odd ringlet or ribbon telling the story of the finery underneath. Candles also burn in tall candelabras in wall brackets, bathing the quiet hall in dancing light. It's deathly quiet, and through the tall windows, the starlight watches the scene as it unfolds. People are waiting on you. You flip down your own hood and shrug off the cloak, revealing a white gown underneath. Your bare feet are freezing on the stonework as your brown curls descend around your shoulders, and you turn to face the stone altar behind you. Upon it lies a young girl of about your age, and she stares up at you calmly, her white hair fanned out on the stone and her blue eyes piercing as you pick up the knife that lays beside her. She is wearing the same white garment as you, and in her hand she clutches a bouquet of wildflowers. You take them from her, and then in one swift motion you plunge the knife into her chest. In a whining gust of wind as the girl screams, all the candles in the hall go out, but you keep carving. You plunge the knife down again and again, dragging it through her flesh until you have her opening, and you plunge your hand into it. Your fingers close around something spherical and spasming, and then you pull the girl's heart from her chest as it beats its last. Turning back to your watching congregation who look at you lovingly, you drop the wildflowers to the floor and you sink your teeth into the heart as the candles flare to life once again and the blood pools at your feet. Astrid, directly after watching Maya put the crown on, you watch as she stiffens and goes rigid. Her eyes seem to not see you. They see something else entirely. And then a jet black film covers them, the one working one. And both of them, even the one that was taken, begin dripping blood.
Maya. Maya.
You hear her say, "It is done." The blood is all that matters. We will prevail. The voice is not Maya's. Maya, you are snatched once again out of this image, almost like your hand has been grabbed and pulled you away. And as you re-emerge into yourself, your one eye sees again, but it feels blurry and odd, and as you go to clear the obstruction from it, your hand comes away bloody. Behind you, you hear...
Maya turns to feel where the laughter may have come from.
As you turn, you see that down the corridor, the way you came, there is a figure with their back to you. Crown on their head. Blood crusting the hem of their gown. They go to turn towards you, but before they complete the motion, they disappear. And once again, you hear...
Maya? Would you take the crown off now?
I believe that is too late. Perhaps it's a step in the direction. I take off the crown, shakily.
Roll me your logic or your empathy.
One success.
The crown resists. You pull at it, and it stays. You try with all your might to take it off, but it wants to stay. And some part of you wants it to stay there. But you fight through it. And you pull it off of your head. And you see how, around the base of it, small spectral vines had begun to grow around the metal base. And they'd taken some of your hair with it.
I think it may be best we leave it here, Astrid.
I agree completely.
Be careful. I pass the crown to Astrid.
Astrid carefully takes it, and without taking her eyes off it, approaches the base of the tree and gently lays it between the roots.
Not back in the hollow?
No.
And did you leave the heart in the hollow?
Yes.
As you lay the crown on the roots of the tree, you once again hear the ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. And you look inside to see once again the heart has started to beat. The tree roots themselves seem to shy away from the crown.
Maya, I do believe that perhaps this is a crown that leads to destruction.
I do believe this crown may lead into something graver than us. Perhaps our plane. There is negative energies emitting from it. But it allures me so.
Let us be gone from this place.
Okay. Let's go.
And you leave the crown behind? Understood. As you both exit, you begin to hear from that other tunnel where you heard the water. And as you make your way towards it to where you know Dagmar and Johan are, you begin to hear that familiar tune wind its way through the air, ethereal and haunting. And we will follow that tune away from Maya and Astrid and towards Dagmar and Johan as you both step out of the cavern and back onto the docks. As you step out, the merman doesn't turn around. He continues sitting there, paddling his leg almost, but it's a tail, and singing gently.
Hey, you. Fish face.
Yes?
Do you know how this man relates to me?
Not particularly. Although you do smell like him.
Well, no wonder, because if so, you would have known that I would never give him up. Not to you. So I suppose we're at a standoff.
Oh. But you see, little bug, we made a deal. Now you don't intend to disappoint me, do you?
If I were to break this deal, what do you suppose would happen?
I think you and I already both know the answer to that. And we also both know that in such a case, on your head would be it. And as he says this, the timbre of his voice seems to change slightly. The effable lightness, the ethereal lullaby-like tone of it seems to shift into something more serious, and there's a strange sort of double timbre to it that seems to rebound off of the cliff, as though a choir was singing it back to him. And it is on that we will draw back from the scene and end our session for today. Thank you, everyone, for watching Dark Tide Rising Waters today. This has been episode 6, Prospero's Hall. And I have been your game master, Gabriel, or @GoodandChaotic. My pronouns are he, him. I am a friendly local trans man most of the time. Now, I couldn't do this without my lovely cast and all the people behind the scenes who make this show happen. So now that I'm done traumatizing them all, I will go around them one by one and allow them to introduce themselves to you and tell them a little bit about where you can find them when I'm not doing horrible things to them. Dagmar.
Hi, my name is Zara Zodiac. I was horribly traumatized Dagmar for you today. Regularly, you can find me under name Zara Zodiac pretty much anywhere, but mostly on Twitch. I play games like Oblivion, but basically anything you can imagine, because I made the promise to play every single game that I own, which is great. Great idea. Great idea on my part. So, yeah, come on over.
Astrid.
I am usually Dinsdale, still Armenian, less Astrid, playing a variety of games on Twitch and just enjoying time building a cozy community where we can support one another.
Fab. Johan, who are you in the real world?
In the real world, I am Superman Anthony, and I do a bunch of variety, mostly the stuff that consists of the anime, and it's a pretty good time. It's like weeb shit coming out.
Sick. And Maya.
Oh, hi. I am equally strange and peculiar. I'm Mizuki, and I play a lot of horror games here on Twitch. A lot of spooky stuff, actually. Oh, boy.
We love spooky things around here. I don't know if you guys can tell that about us, but yeah. So, thank you all for watching. It has been a delight to have you all here at the Adventure Tavern chat. I have a few more people to thank, such as the ever-amazing Lily, who is the fantastic co-writer of these shenanigans and generally just like a hype person and is an amazing individual, and thank you for all your support. Harry, who is another hype human, you're the best. Valen, who is our fantastic producer, so very talented. Oh my goodness, he makes all the pretties happen so that you watch all of the scenes go by in real time and all of the drama happen in the best and most stunning way possible. Southpaw, who did all of the wonderful designs and stuff, he made that killer introduction and also has been behind all of our marketing material, and I think we can all agree it's nuts. He's a wizard. Gosh, there is also Goldie and of course LSP, who have helped with the various voiceover shenanigans that I have tormented these people with over the course of the journey. And of course, you folks at home, we have to thank you for sticking with us throughout the story and watching and coming along and commenting and sort of just being in the chat and enjoying the shenanigans, and we appreciate you all very much, and we hope you're all enjoying yourselves, and we very much hope that you will all join us next time. Same channel, I think 1 hour before this one though, because reasons and time zones are difficult. Anyway, we'll be here next time on Wednesday for the conclusion of this story, for the final episode of Dark Tide Rising Waters. How will our Little Thursday's children do? Will they survive? Will they get off the island? Who knows? Who's to say? It's going to be shenanigans. It's going to be fun. So we will see you guys then.